Hello, broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere outside of Cleveland, Ohio, which literally means anywhere but Cleveland, Ohio. So I gave you no information that's useful here. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. And this right here that you have found yourself enjoying is strictly football right here on the new American media, because the old American media has failed you. We're going to take a look back at last week that was. Mike Bara went into the belly of the enemy to root for his favorite team. We'll talk about that. My favorite team got a new quarterback, and then his house was robbed at the same exact time, and Myles Garrett looks unbelievable. We're going to talk about all of that and more, breaking down the week that was here on Strictly Football. So let's get it on. Allegedly.
Hi, this is Eric Metcalf, and you're watching the Unhappy Hour.
New American Media is proud to present a division of the Unhappy Hour sports show, Strictly Football.
It's the Unhappy Hour.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being back here on the program. If you missed the earlier show on the Unhappy Hour, I had special guest Zach Barris. We were talking about the Cleveland Browns' new stadium. We covered the Browns, and we talked about some Guardians, some Buckeyes, and some Cavaliers. So check out that earlier program.
Hi, this is Eric Metcalf, and you're watching the Unhappy Hour.
That was Nimbus who pressed that intro twice, not myself. Let's go to the crew, Mr. Mike Bara.
That's awesome. Hey, Brian, how's it going? Good to be here.
Living the dream. What was awesome? That Nimbus hit the intro.
Nimbus pushed the button. Yeah, that was great.
And I love that when I came back, like you saw his whole hindquarters. No,
yeah, just sort of ghostly there, like a ghost.
Exactly. Does Miss Muffy ever get into the control?
Oh, yeah, she pushes buttons all the time. So
it's Miss Fluffy Muffy, right?
Fluffy Muffy. It's a long story, but she was named by my previous kitty cat, Aurora, through a pet psychic. Because she said if she can come and be born into this family, but she has to have a stupid name and she can't be as pretty as me. So hence was born Miss Fluffy Muffy, although I think she's beautiful. So.
That's awesome. Yes. Jim Mitchell is here. Jim Mitchell in Jigba. How are you, sir? And do you have any animals? I don't know. Do you have any animals that jump on your controls?
I do have an animal, but she doesn't jump on my controls.
She's a corgi. She's got little itty bitty legs like that. So.
There's no jumping, just a little bit of this T-Rex arms. Jim, happy to have you here. Love your Lennon and Marx shirt. That's fantastic, man. You, Mr. Mike Bara in Jigba, you were rocking Seattle Mariners on top, the Seahawks in the middle. Don't need to see the rest, but I'll assume it's probably the Kraken.
No, I'm pantless. I'm just sitting here in my shorts.
Well, that's where you say make a release the Kraken joke.
I love a job where I don't have to wear pants. It's my favorite.
But wouldn't that be great for like boxers or something? Release the Kraken. You could root for your NHL team. Anyway, I digress. To everybody else out there who would be clamoring for Ez'Ryel Robinson, all apologies. He's a little out of pocket today. He hopes to be back on Thursday for our Look Forward show. All right. Well, I mean, we used to talk about how we did with our projections. We want to hold off on that till Thursday.
Yeah, that's a Thursday show.
Yeah, I guess we could start with the Cleveland Browns, and then we'll go to the Seahawks. I think that makes sense. When Izzy's here, we could do Browns, Seahawks, then Cowboys, and then go through the rest of the league. But, the Cleveland Browns had the lead in most of this game. Let me pull it up on the screen here. Against the old Browns played the new Browns. Bernie Kosar made an impassioned plea, and He's been very active in social media. Have you two been following the journey of Bernie Kosar by chance?
Yeah, he's been in the hospital, and that's a shame because he's still a young man, but relatively young man from my perspective. But
Yeah.
hope he gets well soon.
He has needed a liver, and he was able to secure the transplant this week. And that was a big storyline, just kind of running through Cleveland sports at the moment. Of course, Chris McNeil shared, yeah, well, that's fine. I don't know. I'll get to that joke in a minute, but we'll talk about this joke of the game because Bernie said the old Browns playing the new Browns. Browns had it. We were up in this game, and we gave up 13 points in the fourth quarter to drop this one.
Yeah.
It was all there. It was all ready to go. Couldn't get it done when it counted. Where do we begin? Myles Garrett is having a historic season. They're legitimately talking about him breaking the sacks mark, and I think he could do it. He could definitely do it. Browns defense is giving him a lot to work with, but unfortunately the offense is giving the defense nothing to win with. We saw the changing of the guard. Dillon Gabriel got injured right toward the end of the second quarter. He had a concussion. We didn't even know what was going on. And just when the second half started, Shedeur Sanders was in. The crowd erupted. The crowd rejoiced. But Shedeur looked like a rookie. And the Ravens looked a little bit more like the Ravens of old, where a defense can kind of punish you a bit. Started off, had an early interception. Didn't help matters. But look, Shedeur did take us down into the end zone, allegedly could have potentially thrown the game-winning touchdown or the game-tying touchdown. It wasn't meant to be. It did not happen. And the Browns lost. So there's a lot of storylines here. Mike, which one was interesting to you?
Well, to be honest, I'm not going to have a lot to say about a lot of the games because I've only watched a few condensed replays. I was tracking the games. I did not do a lot of studying, but I will say this about the Browns is they do continue to find new and imaginative ways to lose football games. Yeah. And you're just really bad. They're just really bad. And again, this game and the Seahawks game we're going to talk about in a bit are, I think, proof of my thesis that I seem to be fighting people with is that you got to find a quarterback first. If you don't find the quarterback, you don't have the guy, you're not going anywhere. And at least not going to be serious contenders. And Shedeur, from what I can tell, from what I saw, a little bit of flexing, a little bit of me there, which is exactly why teams, I think, stayed away from him. But I do think he has the physical talent if he can get his head on right. But, look, he's Deion Sanders' kid. It's like if you hire Gene Simmons' kid. I went to the Kiss tribute band again the other night. You know what you're going to get? You're going to get an egomaniac money grubber, right? That's what you're going to get because he's Gene Simmons' kid. Shedeur is Deion's kid. And I do think he's got more upside than Dillon Gabriel, and it's probably they may as well use this as a way to test it out. But boy, to see needing that. So defensively, again, you were ahead. You had the game. You were up, and all you had to do was not give up 13 points in the fourth quarter, and you couldn't do that. So even your defense, which is your strong suit, let you down.
And let's say our special teams as well, Jim. I mean, the special teams definitely lost us that first game against the Bengals. It kind of been disappointing all year, but the swirling wind in Cleveland Browns Stadium on Lake Erie shore, it moved one of those punts significantly. The guy on the Ravens tried. I mean, he had to strife sideways. The ball moved so far, he touched it, he missed it. We recovered it at the 5. Couldn't punch it in for a touchdown. And I sort of knew right there. You win games by taking advantage of opportunities and getting 7. You squander opportunities by only getting 3. And it came back to bite us in this one, Jim. Was this as anticipated? Did anything of the game stand out to you?
Well, if people followed our broadcast last week, we gave the weather report on this, and it was forecasted to be extremely windy at the game and 55 degrees. I mean, the temperature wasn't substantially bad, but the wind does affect special teams.
Oh, yeah.
comes to fitting the football through the goalpost. It was a division game. The Browns. The Browns weren't forecasted to actually cover in this game, although they did. And I think all three of us liked the Browns in this game.
Yeah.
The game opened at 8.5, and it was bet down to 7.5. And if you had 8.5 or 7.5 in the Browns, I mean, you covered the point spread in this game. So you made money by betting this game. I don't know if there were a lot of people that actually, made a straight bet on the Browns, but they may have fitted them into their parlay. Like Mike said, I didn't follow this game a lot. This was kind of a quasi corner TV game, but the glaring stat in this was the fact that the Browns were 11-22 against the spread versus the AFC North, but they covered and probably should have won the game, like you said, Brian. The positive side to this is the Browns next week have the Raiders.
The Raiders.
Yeah.
They can get healthy against the Raiders, which are probably the worst football team in the NFL.
Brian, let me ask you this: do you think if Gabriel doesn't get hurt, that the Browns score maybe 3 more points and win the game, or no?
Yeah, I think so. You're talking about a situation now. Shedeur Sanders has taken 0 lifetime reps with the ones.
Yeah. How do you expect him to perform under those circumstances? Yeah.
I've read and I saw it. I'm sorry, it bounced around, and maybe it's in a Facebook group. Maybe I could grab it at some point. I don't have it in front of me, but some people have defended, like, look, when you're the backup to the backup, you don't get reps. When you're the backup, you hardly get reps. But for me, I'm like, the hell are you talking about? Everybody is one play away from needing to jump in. I would give one assistant coach the red jersey every single practice, whatever we're walking through, to keep everyone engaged on the sidelines and paying attention and alert. Every game, you just walk up and you put the red jersey on the starting right guard, on the safety, on the linebacker, on the wide receiver. Boom, we got to call in the backup. Go. Do you know your plays? Are you ready? Just jump in. Keep the team ready like that. Am I the only one that thinks that way? Maybe. But Dylan has taken a lot of reps. Dylan put a couple of points on the board. He hasn't been throwing a ton of interceptions. He hasn't been giving us a lot of electrifying plays. He doesn't really look like an NFL quarterback back there, but he's found a way to get some throwing lanes. And, let's just be honest. His accuracy, yes, he's over 70% accuracy on the season, but like, he's missing a lot of opportunities. But he's a young quarterback. He's played a handful of games, like what do we expect? Yes, I do think we would have won if we could have stuck with Dylan Gabriel. That being said, Shedeur got his chance and he made a couple of throws, but he did not play well. It sort of reminds me how Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the quarterback that the Browns drafted, 2 years ago, he was named the starter for the Ravens week, and he didn't get any reps either. He didn't know he was going to be the starter. They told him right at the end, hey, you're starting. It's like, what? Kevin Stefanski doesn't appear to have a grasp on what's going on this team. I don't know how many more times I can say, please get a competent head coach in here. I think he's the least competent 2-time coach of the year that you'll ever see. So, yeah, to answer your question, I do think we could have. But like I said with Sanders, he put the ball in some fantastic, tough position throws. He seems to kind of be a gamer that steps up to the moment. The Ravens player dove in, barely got there. That would have been a touchdown to tie the game. So, and we'd be having a totally different conversation had that happened, but it didn't. So, the Browns do have problems, but we also have potentially the GOAT, the greatest of all time pass rusher in Myles Garrett. So I don't know if you guys maybe didn't watch the game or have too much to say about it, but Myles is a man on a mission. He's ready to smash the all-time season, the season record for most sacks in a season, and probably the best that there ever has been. He's still playing at the back end of the peak of his career, and he's probably the healthiest he ever has been. So there are things to look forward to. Carson Schlesinger, linebacker rookie, had another fantastic game. He is the odds-on favorite to be Defensive Player of the Year. We have some building blocks, but we got to get more done on the field, and just settling for 3 really crushed us. Another side storyline, Adam Schefter reports that approximately $200,000 in property was stolen from the home of Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders during a break-in on Sunday, according to police. Our buddy Chris McNeil, who we made a documentary with when he coordinated the perfect winless season parade for the Browns, he replied, Deshaun Watson stole over $230 million while not playing for the Browns on Sunday. But maybe, Jim, let me ask you this one, since you're the law enforcement guy. What do you make of this trend to rob NFL players during game day? Like, this is a growing trend from Joe Burrow to now Shedeur Sanders this week.
Yeah, well, it's technically it's a burglary. It's not a robbery.
Okay,
I don't want to split some with you, but robbery is a crime against person. Burglary is a crime against
Burglary.
property.
Thank you.
Right. But this was a trend probably, what was it, the beginning of the season, that professional sports players, especially if they were playing road games, their houses were targeted and hit. But, this is a trend that's probably going to continue across the United States, as long as that this is an active player and he's traveling with the team. Depending on what type of security system they have around their house. And, most municipalities, alarm systems like Simply Safe and stuff like this. The police have a policy not to respond to those type of burglary alarms. They just don't. They don't have the manpower to do it. And usually the private entity who installs the alarm, they'll go by, disable the alarm, they'll check the perimeter, they won't go in the house. And then if there's something suspicious like a window broken or a door kick, they'll notify the police, and then the police will come out and take a report. But a burglary is a property crime, and the police don't actively respond to burglaries.
Yeah.
Especially in large municipalities.
Well, across the
Like
country,
Las Vegas.
police don't seem to be responding to a lot of stuff. And when they do, they're just let back out on the streets the same day. But that's another topic.
About 8 years ago, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department instituted that policy. They don't respond to burglaries.
Goodness, Mike Bara, what say you on that? Because this is a professional sports trend. This is obviously people working with a plan here. This is not just a couple of crumb bums.
No, I don't really have anything to say about this.
Fair enough. Let me just say this. I shared this on X. This is the GoFundMe support for the family of Bryce Dunlap, the Browns fan who tragically had a brain injury and passed away. And he was the one that was able to provide the life-saving liver transplant for Browns legend Bernie Kosar. So there's a GoFundMe, and that's shared on TNAM Football. At TNAM Football, if anybody wanted to kick in a couple of bucks to help with the funeral expenses and show some love. I'll move off this Browns game with this final thing, but Bernie Kosar, the living legend, anything you guys remember? Because he led the Miami Hurricanes to their first.
He was a resourceful guy with a weak arm that made a great career for himself, and that's how I will always remember Bernie Kosar. And hopefully we'll have him around for a while to, rip on. Good guy.
Jim, was there any moment that stands out with Bernie for you? Anything that comes to mind when you hear the name Bernie Kosar in particular?
They kind of all run together, Brian. Bernie Kosar, Brian Sipe. I'm not gonna put Tim Couch in that.
No, he's not as good as those guys.
Hey, Brian Sipe was an MVP, an NFL MVP, by the way.
Brian, let me requalify my last statement. Police departments.
Oh, okay.
Let me go back. Police departments respond to burglaries. They do. They don't respond to burglary alarms.
Oh, so the automated alerts.
That's the difference. Right. If there was a burglary and the owner of the home substantiated that there was a break-in and the loss of property, then, you know, the police will come by and they will investigate
So
that crime. But as far as burglary alarms, they
I'm
do
wasting
not.
my money
And
on
the
Simply Safe.
A big reason for that is especially in bad weather, especially
False
when
positives.
windows and doors rattle, magnets get separated, and there's a lot of homes, especially in my neighborhood, where you'll hear burglary alarms going
Yes,
off.
his neighbors Shannon Sharp and Marshawn Lynch might set off a burglary. So, absolutely.
Duly noted. No, I do appreciate the background there. I hate seeing it. Shedeur had a tough game. It didn't go well, and then he comes home to find his place has been broken into and they stole a bunch of stuff. Like that sucks. That's not the that's the opposite of the Baker Mayfield debut where they do Cleveland, like the Philly. Baker catches the touchdown pass. We win the game, opens the Bud Light cooler that was frozen shut from a winless season. And yeah, Shedeur did not get that love. But look, he's going to actually get first team reps this week, and they're going to play a lousy Las Vegas Raiders team. So fingers crossed we're going to get on the right track this time. But once again, this late in the season when you're 2-8, would you rather win or would you rather lose? So it's kind of like if we win it, we lose because we lose a draft position.
Yeah.
But if we lose it, then we lose. So like we're guaranteed to lose this time of year.
I'm not one of those under the belief that teams actively try to lose football games. I don't believe that. But you know, Mike has another opinion as far as their help goes. You know, with the referees.
Well,
you know,
that's
what
I generally don't think the players do that either. But, they do make business decisions late in seasons when it's a loss season. So.
Right, that's a good way to put it.
Business. Yeah, you can. My creaky back. I think I'm gonna need to.
This last meaningless game against the Falcons out, guys. Sorry.
Maybe it's a high ankle sprain. It's tough to define. Yeah, it's tender. Tender. Yeah, very tender. I might have to sit out the next 4 to 6 and maybe go on vacation too. Well, hey, let's go to the Seahawks game. They sort of went on vacation. This was a very close game against a very good Rams team. We can't poo-poo this. We can look at the stats and say, well, Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions. He's a bum or something. But the Rams are a very good team. Mike, you drove through the snowy Cajon Pass. Sans
snowy. Yeah, it's not.
Sans snow chains.
Yes. I survived somehow.
Did it snow there,
no,
Mike?
It did not. It was 64 degrees when we went through on Saturday, and it was 46 degrees when we came back.
Well, tell us about it. What was the experience like?
Well, actually, you know what? I'll tell you what. I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of stuff. But what I'd like to see, because let me just tell you once again to reiterate that watching a game live is completely different than watching it on TV. I'd like to see what you guys thought about it, and then I'll tell you what really happened.
Okay. Jim,
so
let's start with
you
you.
guys thought from your perspective.
Jim, let's start with you.
Yeah, as far as betting this game is concerned, this game was kind of a toss up as far as the betting lines go. The Rams were favored by 3 points all week. I thought that this was a good number. They should have been favored. In fact, Mike had lost track of his bet. He had lost his parlay, and he was kind of grief stricken over that. But I reminded him that he had made a straight bet earlier in the week on the Seahawks, and I said, Mike, you made money. I mean, I think you only put $20.
I'd rather give the money and win the game, but that's just me. So.
Oh no! You got to win the money, Mike. But Mike won his bet with the Seahawks, which was a good bet. It was a good straight bet. It wasn't a parlay, and all he had to do, was cover 3 points.
Yeah.
And the Seahawks did cover
as they were
points.
driving on that last drive, let me tell you, I wasn't thinking about my bet. I was thinking about, can they find a way to win this game? So, that just wasn't what I was thinking about. But yeah.
A 61-yard attempt, it's not the worst you've seen. That's a long attempt, though. And for me, just looking at it, it's hard to get past the 4 interceptions. Two turnovers are almost insurmountable in the NFL. Double that is pretty tough. But look, even all that being said, you guys had a shot. You were down by 2, kicking for 3. It's from 61. that was a chance. And sometimes against one of the best teams in the conference, the Rams, on the road, all you're asking for is for a chance to win. And you had a chance. So I'm not all that down on what transpired, but Mike was there. Maybe you have a different insight.
No, I want to get Jim's thoughts. I want to hear what you guys thought. Really good.
Yeah, probably the tail of the tape in this game is if you have that many interceptions, you can't expect to win the football game. And Darnold just had too many interceptions. I mean, the Seahawks going into the game, they were 10-0 straight up on the road and 8-2 against the spread. They covered the spread, but consequentially, the Rams were 7-1 against the spread as a favorite. And they were 15-5 against the spread overall, and they just dominate the NFC West. If you take the 49ers out of the if you factor the 49ers out, they're 24-9 against the spread versus the NFC West. So, but the Rams dominate the Seahawks on the betting line. They are 8-1 against the spread versus the Seahawks, and I think now they are 8-0 straight up against the Seahawks.
And
so
good.
Yeah, they just I don't want to say they have the Seahawks number or they own the Seahawks, but 8-0 they kind of do.
The Seahawks have their 10-game road winning streak snapped, and look, the defense of the Seahawks held Stafford for a season low 130 yards. Rams only got 249 yards. Like, the defense sort of did its job, but all those points, first quarter, 1 field goal, second quarter, 2 field goals, third quarter, 1 field goal. Only touchdown of the game came once in the fourth quarter. It's hard to win when you can't get 7. That was the story of the Browns losing to the Ravens. We had all of our chances and we put up 3 instead of 7. You don't win games that way. You just can't. So those are Jim's thoughts. Those are mine. Now it's time for Mike. We're going to do the drum roll. So I feel like Mike's about ready to go full mode and just rip off the shirt.
First of all, it's interesting because when you watch a game on TV, I'm just going to tell you, it is so much brighter than it is in real life. It was dark. It was gloomy inside the stadium. The field was not lit well enough at all. And it's so weird watching it because I'm like, that's not what it looked like when I was there. It looked really different. The other thing it's really fascinating to remind you of is how much slower the game is in real life than it looks on TV. Everything on TV looks so fast, and it's like, it really isn't that fast in real life. And you really do have more time to make decisions, which is why when your quarterback makes extraordinarily bad decisions, it can cost you a football game. And they talk about pressure, but there wasn't that much pressure. So let's get a couple things out of the way and stipulate right away. The Rams have a very good football team. A very balanced football team. They run the ball well. They pass the ball okay. And they play great defense. They are not a terrific pass rushing team. Their defense, their guys are always in the right position. There was one play when I think it was Ken Walker. There was a cutback play, and he was running to the left corner, and there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Rams in line. I mean, they were never out of position. So that's a very well-coached team defensively. Having said that, the Seahawks dominated them. They dominated both sides of the line of scrimmage after the first quarter. The Rams had 3 big gash plays on run plays. Whatever was going on there, the Seahawks figured it out, and they had nothing after that on the running game. The passing game, they were very ineffective. If anybody tells you that Matthew Stafford is the MVP, you have my permission to laugh in their face because he's not that great. He didn't do anything in that game.
But your defense makes great quarterbacks look average.
And our defense is, I think, actually better than theirs. And we were missing Jaron Reed on the inside, which he probably, if he'd been out there, those big runs wouldn't have happened in the first quarter. But the bottom line is 4 horrible interceptions. You could see them coming before he threw the ball. In each case, I'm like, oh, no, he's not looking there. Oh, no, he threw it. Oh, my God, why did he do that? And there was not much pressure. He was not really under pressure in any of those situations, at least not enough that he couldn't have said to himself, well, I can just throw this in the dirt because it's only second down and we can come back and try it again. Or we can punt and get the ball back with 7 minutes to play. So, the first interception, they were coming our way. We were down between the 10 and the 20 in the first section. By the way, if you ever go to SoFi Stadium, go there, get in the door, go directly to the customer service and say, I'm handicapped. Can I get a handicap seat? And they put us, we were in the best seats in the house, right? Maybe not the best in the house because we should have been at the 50-yard line, but they were great. And, Dave's got a handicap sticker and he can barely walk. And my friend Missy works there. She says, no, they'll put you in the handicap seats if you just tell them that you got a handicap parking pass. And they treated us great. So that's something I can say for you.
Let me pause on that point since you brought it up. Let me just add, after Baker almost got us to the AFC Championship game after that terrible Chiefs situation that occurred, we went the following season, my buddy and I, we drove into Kansas City from Louisville. Yeah. And we ended up in those handicap seats. Like what they had, we were gifted the tickets and we didn't know what they were. And when we got there, we were taken to that spot. And we went, oh, okay.
Yeah, we were at the club level, where all the boxes are behind us, right? Right behind us. So they treated us really well.
Yeah, they were fantastic.
Just because Dave, God, it took him so long just to get to the gate, and I'm like, dude, let's go talk about those handicap seats because we would have had to go all the way up to the 500 level. They totally accommodated us. They were really good to us. So all that for the Rams. But the thing is that again, the first interception, he had Smith and Jigba on the right side, 1-on-1. He had his man beat by 5 yards, and it was going to be 10 yards by the time the ball got there. Darnold didn't even look at it. He had him wide open up the right side, and instead he throws the ball over the middle into traffic. It gets picked off. The Rams ended up getting a touchdown. So 14 points we gave up to them on the interceptions for touchdowns. The final score of this game should have been 19-10, 19-7, 19-14, maybe, because you got to assume the Rams are going to be a little more aggressive offensively, if they didn't have the lead, right? So, but the Seahawks should have won that game. And then, again, Ken Walker scored a touchdown in the third quarter, which they called back. And I've gone back over the all 22. There was no holding on that play. There wasn't even anything you could misconstrue as holding. And I don't understand the motivation for why a ref would call that, except it's a rookie player and he wants to pick on him. That's all I can think of. So the Seahawks should have had probably 22 instead of 19 or even 24.
Which rookie player was that?
It was a tight end. I forget the guy's name.
Elijah Arroyo, perhaps?
Not Arroyo. It was another tight end, but he's a young or a rookie player. And he got called for holding. And I've gone back over the all 22, and there's literally nothing there. So, but, it happens in games, especially if you're not the glamour team like the Chiefs, where you're going to get called. It was, who's the other tight end?
Alani?
He didn't catch. No, he's a running back. 88 is the guy's number.
Okay.
But didn't do anything. And so they got screwed out of the go-ahead touchdown in the third quarter because that should have put them up 16-14. And then they scored later, and that should have put us up, 22, 23-21. So, and that they shouldn't have had the 21 without Sam Darnold. So that you can go through all this stuff. But the thing is, the Rams don't scare me. The Seahawks should have won this game. They, might have been Callerup. Yeah, it was Nick Callerup. But he didn't do anything, and he may not be a rookie. Didn't do anything.
He's a rookie out of Minnesota.
Again, after the first quarter, we had way more first downs than them, way more third down conversions, way more running yards, way more passing yards. We dominated the final 3 quarters. But because of one ref's call, we didn't get the 14 points that we should have had, which would have won the game for us. And even with that, like you said, they were able to get the ball to try a field goal at least. Yeah. Now, there's other things too, Jim. The play calling was really bad. It was basically the same few plays over and over again, and they were all very short patterns. like on that last drive, Brian, you need to get the ball downfield. You're at the 1 inch line, which, by the way, talk about pure fucking luck. What a lucky that was. Congrats, guy. So you got to throw the ball 15, 20 yards downfield. They're throwing the ball 8 or 9 yards downfield. So they used up way more clock than they should have. They should have had 2 or 3 or 4 more plays. They could have done some better clock management there. They had a pass. They barely got up to about midfield. And with 40 seconds to play, still had a timeout and let another 20 seconds run off. They could have run up, spiked the ball, still had 3 downs. There's just lots of little things. So you take about 5 or 6 little things that if they'd simply done a little bit better or gone the other way, it would have been would have been a win. Also, they were without Torrey Horton. What's his name? Torrey Horton, really good receiver. And so I think the Seahawks were very limited in how the kind of passing game they could execute. Having said all that, if your quarterback doesn't throw the ball away 4 times, and literally they were all just terrible decisions, they win the game. So the second interception to Smith-Njigba, I was telling Dave, look, Njigba's been open up the right-hand side 3 times in the first quarter for what would have been big gains. And yet they kept lining him up on the left side. So they must have seen something in the film that they thought, oh, we can take advantage of him on the left side, but he was really able to take advantage of him on the right side, but they never got the ball to him. So finally, they put him out on the right side after about 8 times lining up on the left side, and Darnold throws the ball, and he's completely covered. It was just a little down and out, and I'm like, that's totally covered, and Darnold throws the ball right in there. I'm like, what are you even doing? Now, the third interception, some people say that Elijah Arroyo should have cut his pattern a little on the inside, which is what Darnold thought he was going to do. And instead he stayed outside, and that led to the pick, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. If your quarterback doesn't force it 4 times, you win the game. And the quarterback forced it 4 times. The book on Darnold is he forces the ball in bad situations under pressure in big moments. And I got to say, that narrative was confirmed by the performance on Sunday. It absolutely was. Now, have I completely given up on Sam Darnold? No. But here's the thing. A guy who's got, 8 years in the league now, 7 years in the league now? He should know enough that in a big game like this, you don't take risks with the ball that are unnecessary. And all 4 of his interceptions were unnecessary. Not only did he have better options, he didn't even need to throw the ball at all. He could have taken a sack. He could have thrown the ball away. Lots of options.
Well, Mike, do you think Darnold just locks up in big games? Because last year when he played for Minnesota, I mean, he was great all season, the regular season, and then they went to
playoffs.
They went to the playoffs, and it's just like he vaporized.
Yeah.
And lost that game.
Well, the thing is, in those games, the last regular season game and the game, I think it was Lions and Rams back-to-back weeks, the Vikings had major injuries on the offensive line. I think they lost 2 starters or 3 starters of their starting 5. So he was constantly under pressure. Here's the thing, Jim. He wasn't really under very much pressure on Sunday. All of the mistakes were self-inflicted. So what I think might be happening is that he's now got that in his head. I have to disprove this. I have to do something big. I have to, people say about Baker Mayfield. Colin Cowherd says about Mayfield. Baker gets into trouble when he tries to do too much. He gets into trouble when he starts thinking he's a better athlete than he really is. And it could be the same kind of thing with Sam Darnold, where you just got to not, you're not Mahomes. You're not, I mean, look, just to be blunt here, guys, 36-year-old broken down Russell Wilson, had he been the quarterback on Sunday, the Seahawks would have won.
Oh,
because he would not have made those stupid mistakes.
Maybe that's what
you're
made
1 or 2 mistakes, but he's not making 4 interception bad mistakes.
Well, and maybe that's what you were saying about would Dylan Gabriel have made a difference? Could you have kept that lead and won it? Dylan doesn't. He's had a couple that coulda, woulda, shoulda, but weren't intercepted. He's made a bad decision or 2. Everybody does. But Shador, he comes in, he gets blitzed, he throws it, instant interception, instantly.
Yeah. So,
and you get that with youth. But then again, you compare Dylan Gabriel to Shador Sanders, and you go, well, that guy looks like he could be an NFL quarterback with more coaching and experience and repetition. The other guy's like, he had us winning, and he's serviceable. I don't know that I'd want to hitch my wagon to him.
But in a game like this, all you needed was serviceable. I mean, Darnold threw for 289 yards. It's like it wasn't like the passing game wasn't effective. It's just at the crucial moments, it was really bad. And here's the thing, Jim. All 4 times on the interceptions, as he wound up, and I could see where he was looking because you could see it coming. You know what I was saying to myself each time? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Don't do that. Because there was nowhere to throw the ball where he was trying to throw. Nowhere. And I don't know what his. So this is something. Had he just not thrown those 4 balls, they would have found a way to win the game. And they're just as good as the Rams. They're very evenly matched teams. Our defense, I think, is even a little bit better. So we'll see what happens. I have very high confidence that the Seahawks will beat the Rams the next time we play them up here. But that those streaks will end. They should have ended on Sunday. But something's got to change with Darnold. Now, look, here's what we know is going to happen. He's going to bounce back next week. He's going to have 3 touchdowns, maybe 1 interception. They're going to destroy the Titans on the road. But Jim, it's got to stop. It's got to stop, and only Darnold can stop throwing the ball when he shouldn't throw it. And that was the essence of the game. So you come away optimistic, thinking we should have beat those guys because we outplayed them. But
as a Browns fan, I could have said that about the Bengals week 1. We had the Jets, except for 2 punt return and a kick return touchdown. Yeah. We had the Ravens where we wanted them. I mean, you flip 3 wins, we go from 2-8 to 5-5. That's more accurately depicting what I see on our team. We're not trash. Our defense is so good, serviceable, average play should be getting us to 5-5, but it hasn't. It's tough to watch. Jim, final thoughts on this then?
No, I think Mike pretty much summed it up. I mean, I think the Seahawks will handle the Rams, when they travel to Seattle.
The 12th man.
But, they're going to, hopefully they just end up splitting this year. And
that would be a moral victory at this point. But, again, it's a shame because it's a game where you had the opportunity. If your quarterback just doesn't make those stupid mistakes, you have the opportunity to take the lead in the division, take control of the NFC, and you're lined up where you should be. Now you're scratching for a wild card. So,
well, Rush Fan 1979 says beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah,
when it matters.
Yeah.
Jim, he said, yeah, in the playoffs when it matters. Are you kidding me? No, we're not kidding you. We just hope we can win a game. All right, let's talk about Baker Mayfield. You brought up Baker. Let's jump to that one then. That was the game I was super excited about. I mean, come on, Josh Allen 6 touchdowns. That's
crazy.
A little bit of something.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers got a hell of a performance out of their backup. I mean, they're on to their 3rd running back. I guess Rashad White is back, but no Bucky Irving. Sean White had 106 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, and then he also had 2 receptions for 34 yards and a touchdown in the air. But that was not enough to overcome the Buffalo Bill. The game was a little closer than it ended. Buffalo put 13 on in the 4th. But yeah, this is a 1-score game till pretty late, Mike. And the Bills are a better team on this day.
I saw snippets of this, and you just got Josh Allen. 6 touchdowns. That's crazy. And he's the best player in the league, in many ways. That may not deserve to be the MVP, but he's the best quarterback in the league for sure. And that's all that happened. 2 good teams, 2 heavyweights slugging it out. The home team won. So, or did they? Was that on the road? No, it was at home. So
yeah, the Bills were at home on that one.
So good. Just that's all I got to say. Good
Buffalo
game.
Improves to 7-3, and Buccaneers slip to 6-4. Luckily, the Bucs are in a really bad division. We know that, but we'll get to the injuries with the Falcons, and whatever else is going on in that division. Jim, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, this was one of the games that we probably talked about last week. The Bills, not a great team this year. I wouldn't say they're one of the great teams this year, but they are still a solid, good football team. Lost to the Dolphins last week, and good teams usually bounce back and punish the team that they're playing in the current week. The Bills won the game, and they covered the point spread. This game was just Bills all over. It was Bills were 21-7 straight up after a loss. They're 14-1 straight up at home going into this game. 10-3 straight up versus the NFC, and 14-6 versus playoff teams.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens the rest of the season. Emeka Egbuka was there, but they're missing their top two wide receivers. Obviously, Mike Evans is done for the year, but it would be really nice to get Chris Godwin back in action.
I think Mike Evans is done for the NFL.
Yeah, he's done but maybe Godwin could be coming back, and Bucky Irving could come back, and they do have their injuries on the line. This is sort of playing out as I expected. Baker just kind of will-powered them to a few come-from-behind wins early. It's balancing out a little bit. They just don't have the extra firepower when they need it, third and fourth quarters. But, anyway, good win for the Bills. That was very needed because, there's a couple of good teams in the AFC as well. Let's talk about one of those teams. Let's talk about the New England Patriots. Obviously, they beat the Jets, but New England's 9-2. I knew we thought maybe they'd be okay, but I didn't think they'd be 9-2, Mike. Is not much of a litmus test against New York, obviously,
right.
But 9-2 is still 9-2. The record, they are who we thought they were.
Again, I didn't get I watched. They had all the games up on Red Zone and the big screens and stuff in the stadium, which was real impressive. And it was funny. I saw a meme, and it was a picture of Tom Brady and Geno Smith, and then a picture of Drake May and Justin Fields, and it said "New Era, same vibe" or something like that. Just how terrible the Jets quarterbacks are compared. And I think again, this came down to Drake May's a lot better quarterback than Justin Fields, and that's all. That seems to be what happened. So May is impressive, and the Patriots have a great record.
Indeed. Jim, what did you take away?
Yeah, our guy Ramondre Stevenson, I don't believe he played in this game. I think he was still out. He still has a pretty bad toe injury. This game opened at 11.5. It was bet up to 12.5. Probably the biggest point spread of the week in this game.
And by the way, your boy Ramondre, I'm glad he's taking a minute because I have been banging my chest as a Buckeye fan. Feed Travion Henderson the ball. He's a home run hitter. 3 touchdowns. He gets the hat trick in this one. 2 on the ground, 1 in the air. Great to see. Love it.
Yeah. He's been he's played really well. I think Mike just mentioned it. Justin Fields is benched. He's not going to play this week. So 27-14 division game. I mean, that was a convincing ass whipping by the Patriots. And the Patriots are solid in that good football team category this year so far. I wouldn't say they're great. They're good. They're a solid football team.
Yeah, and so Tyrod Taylor is going to get the start this week, yeah?
I don't see how they can do anything else.
Yeah. Well, a bit of a changing of the guard. You start to see it halfway through the season. I mean, the Browns are on their, what are we on, our 3rd quarterback now? It happens. Let's go over to the Denver Broncos. Here's another 9-2 AFC team. If we thought the Broncos would be competitive, they'd be good or okay. 9-2, 6-0 at home. Look, they took down the Kansas City Chiefs, who slipped to 5-5, and they're in danger of missing what are they in danger of missing, Jim? They're sort of in danger of missing the playoffs.
Playoffs.
And I'm not kidding you.
You kidding me? Playoffs.
They just hope they can win a game at this point, Mike. This was a good battle. This was interdivisional.
Yeah,
they're fighting hard, and the Chiefs are aging. They have all their money tied up in the quarterback. The rest of the team is getting older and slower, and the depth isn't there.
This is I obviously didn't get to see this game. It was going on at the same time as the Seahawks game. I've watched the highlights. I continue to say Denver Broncos are the most unimpressive 9-2 team I think I've ever seen. But they have a good defense.
The Steelers a few years ago. They
were also very unimpressive. But their defense keeps them in the game. And one thing I did hear about, there was interesting. I was listening to Sirius XM radio on the way home, and the guys that were talking, Rich Gannon and Bruce Murray, they were talking, and this guy Murray, who's some sort of New York announcer or something, play-by-play guy, he was like, I can't believe it. It's the last drive of the game, and Chris Jones isn't in the game. He's on the sidelines taking a breather, and he says, I feel like the Chiefs have a bad attitude. Like they need some new people that are hungry, because they seem to feel like he was of the opinion that they didn't take the game all that seriously. And another thing that I did hear about this game, which is important, is that Patrick Mahomes once again had another pick six apparently called back. Patrick Mahomes, since he came into the league, leads the league in pick sixes called back on penalties. I think he has 13. And again, the favoritism is there, but it doesn't sound like – I was surprised. I thought the refs were not going to let the Chiefs lose this game, but I didn't see it. So maybe you guys can fill me in on a little more of the action. But that again, that's the Mahomes thing just pisses me off. So
good point on bringing that up, because you're always playing the Chiefs and the referees when you play them. I looked this up. It was the 2020 season where the Steelers opened with an impressive 11-0 record through week 12. They look like Super Bowl contenders with a dominant defense, efficient offense. And then they had some injuries and ended up 12-4 as the 3 seed and lost in the wild card round to the Browns. So, maybe they're the least impressive 9-2 team out there, but they are still 9-2. I was rooting for RJ Harvey to give me something, but Jaleel McLaughlin ended up vulturing the touchdown there, hurting my fantasy league. So not a big fan of that, but they did enough to get it done, Jim. And once again, it's on the road in Denver. You talk about the trends with that.
Yeah, I don't think this was a bettable game at all. I mean, the trends were kind of 50-50 across the board on this. I did not like the Chiefs in this game. I think the Chiefs are overvalued at this point. And based on what Mike said, they'll probably continue to be overvalued. Mahomes is still looked at as the he's probably the consummate star of the NFL. He's got more commercials on TV than anybody else. He's a very visible person. He's a likable guy. A lot of people call him Kermit the Frog.
He talks like Kermit.
Because
I do talk like Kermit
his
a little
voice.
bit.
I don't think he sounds like Jim Henson.
You got to get the discount double check a little bit. Discount double check. Travis, what's going on with the discount double check?
And he runs like a girl too. His thighs rub together. It's a little kid. But other than that,
the Broncos are now 11-0 straight up at home. That's the one reason I didn't like this game. I just think the Chiefs are overvalued. Even though it's a division game, the Chiefs are 17-2 straight up versus the Broncos going into this game, and Mahomes is 13-1 straight up versus the Broncos. How could you not like the Chiefs? If it was 2.5, 3, it might have been a tasty bet, but it was 4 all week. I don't like that number 4. Usually, we talked about this last week. If Vegas puts a number 4 on a team, then they're probably telling you that they are going to win the game. But that wasn't the case with this game at all. The Broncos were one of those teams again we talked about last week that had lost. I mean, they came back, won the game, and covered the point spread. So the Broncos were coming off a losing week, and they came back and won. So Broncos, not a great team, but a relatively strong.
They're getting it done. Results speak for themselves.
What are they? 4 games ahead of the Chiefs now in the
division? 5-5 versus 9-2. I mean, that's significant. You look at the wild card teams coming up. It's like I don't know that the Chiefs are better than any of these teams. I just don't. I think the Ravens are starting to get their act together a little bit, which could be scary. But Bo Nix getting it done. A young quarterback getting the reps, and if you can make the playoffs, if you can get some of that experience, who knows where you can lead with that. But yeah, I'm very excited to see the Chiefs finally go away, but I will never count them out until they're mathematically eliminated. I'm not that foolish. I'm not going to start dancing and writing the eulogy just yet on the Chiefs, because like I said, and like you said, Mike, they seem to, or you implied, they definitely seem to have the favor of the league on their side, and that counts for what, 7 extra points a game?
At least 3.
So.
At least
3, maybe 4, easy, if not 7 or more. All right, let's talk about this one. The Eagles and the Lions, 2 of the best teams in the NFC, allegedly. Look, the Lions handed off the offensive play calling duties to their head coach, and they only put 9 points on the board. Eagles only 16, but that's all it took in this game, Mike. Eagles got it done.
I did get back to the hotel in time to watch the last 3 quarters of this game, and I felt like the Lions were going to win this game. I felt like the Eagles are due for a letdown, and they didn't really have it. But it seemed to me, because I couldn't really hear the commentating, that the wind was insane, and that really seemed to have affected the Lions' passing game. It really did, and. I would like to see a rematch without all the extra weather effects and just like in a dome or something. Might have been a different result, but that's all I could tell you from it. It was a competitive, tight game. 2 really good football teams, but I think the wind affected the Lions' passing game a lot more than it affected the Eagles' running game. So that's what it appeared to be to me. I don't know if that's actually correct, because I don't have the game book and I don't know what the weather was. But I'll look for it while we're talking.
Actually, does it have it in the recap? Maybe in the game cast. Let me look around. Maybe Jim has it, but it said Lincoln Financial Field, attendance 69,000. It's giving me everything but the temperature.
There's a game book that will tell you that. I'm going to go look for that.
Gotcha. Jim, Eagles improved to 8-2 on the year. Lions slipped to 6-4. What'd you think?
Yeah, I beginning of the week I liked the Eagles, and I had the Eagles winning the game based on the fact Jalen Hurts going into this game was 19-1 straight up as a home favorite. The Lions had strong numbers though. I mean they were 43-14 straight up and 18-9 against the spread going into this game, but. Eagles at home just too strong, and they were only laying 2.5 in this game. The guys were talking about the weather. I believe it was 50 degrees and raining at Philadelphia during the game. Important note about this: Lane Johnson, offensive lineman, he's going to be out. They forecast 4 weeks. And we talked about this before you activated the show, Brian. Jalen Hurts is 5-9 straight up without Lane Johnson in the game. 5-9 straight up. So you'll probably see some line movement this week coming up as far as the Eagles go. They have. Who are the Eagles playing this week?
I don't know, but I just got the weather. It says wind was 15 degrees, wind chill was 38 degrees. So it was a little windy and bitter, but that's all. It's not bad.
Yeah. By the way, the Eagles are going to be playing at the Cowboys at the 4:25 game next.
Yeah, this game opened. Eagles are favored by 3.5 in that game.
Not a lot, given the fact that Dallas has been struggling, but they got to win this week.
Struggling.
Yes. Well, that is a good point to mention with missing Lane. Injuries start piling up, and they really matter. I mean, God, if it wasn't for Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving both getting severely injured, Kyrie blowing out his kneecap and Kevin having his labrum ripped apart, we would have won that championship in 2015. Didn't happen. Couldn't do it. Stretched it to 6 against the Warriors. Then if they don't get the 2015 win, we win in 16. They never get Kevin Durant. Cavs get the 4 in a row, the 4-peat. It didn't happen, but it was because of injuries, I think. But we played this game.
Offensive line injuries are very important in the National Football League, and Vegas knows that when they make the line.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, offensive linemen are valued higher than wide receivers when figuring a line because they protect the quarterback.
Well, that's interesting because the Browns' 2 biggest deficiencies are offensive line and wide receiver. That is without a doubt where the Browns have to address in the draft. Maybe both of our first-round picks need to be an offensive lineman and a wide receiver in whatever position. They're the biggest glaring weaknesses on our team. We could talk about the Cowboys. That was the game. Well, let me go to. I'm trying to find the most.
Let's talk about how bad Pete Carroll's teams are. Let's go ahead and talk about that.
Do you have your X feed pulled up? Do you want to? You shared some in the group chat. Some of those fun memes. I like it. It looks like Smithers. I've come to coach the Cowboys. Yes, Mr. Burns. Yes. I know that's pretty fun. You could easily swap out who those memes were with Mr. Burns. The Cowboys rolled the Las Vegas Raiders 33-16. Dak Prescott had himself a bit of a game, 4 touchdowns, 25 of 33 on the day. No stupid mistakes. No touchdowns rushing on the day. I did not start Javonte Williams in my league. Didn't hurt me too much. But Pickens, Lamb, Lupke, and Flournoy, I don't even know who those other 2 are. They were the receiving touchdown leaders. But, man, 16 points by the Raiders. Not a lot going. What is going on with Ashton Jeanty? He had 7 yards on 6 carries. Geno Smith doubled him on 14 yards.
Pete fucking Carroll, okay? It's Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll cannot find a way to get the ball to his best players. This is the way it's been for the last 10 or 15 years. The good players don't touch the ball. The bad players get it all the time. He rotates guys so that, we got to have a Travis Homer package in the game plan this week. No, we don't. Pete, you just give it to Ashton Jenny, all right? He's incompetent, and his staffs are incompetent. And this is a consistent problem with Pete Carroll, is that he doesn't get the ball to his good players because he's always focused on rotations and all of his philosophies. He sucks. Time to retire, Pete. You and Russ.
Well, he might be retired by Tom Brady's on the ownership group now. He's going to have a say. He's going to have, there's Miss Fluffy Muffy. Not on your control panels, but in the show.
Yeah.
Look at that. Happy to see you. Jim, Cowboys got the win as suspected, but what stood out to you?
Well, this was I believe this was one of our lead pipe locks of the week. I think we had 2 games. This was one of them. I was looking to make some money. I didn't pull the trigger on this game to make a straight bet. I won my straight bet this week. We haven't talked about that. That was the other lead pipe lock of the week. But this was the secondary lead pipe lock of the week. I was waiting for the Cowboys. I got greedy. I was waiting for the Cowboys to go to 3. They opened at 3. They closed at 3.5, and they never went back to 3. So the money was still coming in on the Cowboys. Geno Smith, just miserable at home. 6-13-1 against the spread. Now he's 6-14-1. Geno is also he's now 1-6 straight up and against the spread in prime times, whether it be Thursday, Sunday, or Monday night football. He cannot play when the lights are on. Dak Prescott, interesting stat. Dak is now 5-0 straight up and against the spread on Monday Night Football. And I found that stat last night. Important thing, Mike gave me some homework last week. He mentioned it in passing during the show, so I crunched some numbers. Mike made the statement that play on Monday, die on Sunday. Is that what you said?
Win on Monday, lose on Sunday is a
win on Monday, lose on Sunday. Well, it really doesn't matter if two teams play on Monday night, and I think there were 3 weeks this season where there were 2 Monday night football games each week. I think there were 3 weeks that occurred. Teams that played on Monday night football are 10-14 straight up the next week.
Because it's a short week
to win the game straight up.
It's a short week.
But teams that play Monday Night Football are only 7-16-1 against the spread the next week. So that's a 2-1 deficit if you're betting that team. So I think the Cowboys ended up winning and covering last night, but they've got the Eagles at home on a short week.
Don't take them then.
This week.
Yeah.
But, what are you going to do? You're going to leave the game alone because Lane Johnson's out.
Oh, yeah. So without Lane,
And Jalen Hurts is miserable without Lane Johnson.
Which one is worse, right? Losing Lane Johnson or the short week?
So when we have confusing, contradictory betting trends, you just walk away. You go, it's just a mess. It's a cluster.
It's what you call, I do not need the game. There are enough football games to bet. You don't want to force the bet.
Because you're trying to find an edge. You don't need to be so like keyed up for your next fix. Become a junkie.
Right. Yeah, and Denver's got the week off. The San Diego Chargers got the week off. The Miami Dolphins got the week off, and the Washington Redskins have the week off. So those are the. So you still have 13. You still got 14 games to bet.
Gotcha.
You don't need this game. You don't need it.
Well,
plus it's a division game.
Well, let's talk about this division game that they both needed to try to catch the ailing Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. Look, I called this one right, but you got some injuries with the Falcons, the Falcons. Michael Penix Jr. might be, I think he's out for the season.
Looks like it. Yeah. And
he's out.
Another major.
So the Falcons lose this game, and they drop to. Sorry, I'm on a different screen here. They drop to 3-7. Panthers are fighting, man. They're up at 6-5. At some point, they are what their record says they are. They get the overtime win, Mike.
Yeah. Again, I didn't see much of this game, but I have reviewed it. I mean, Bryce Young, wow, off the charts with the numbers. Sounds like he had a great game.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's turning the corner for them a little bit. It's going to blow my Kyler Murray for Bryce Young trade scenario in the offseason.
Yeah.
He starts coming around. But again, it's tough to say. That was the reason Michael Penix might have gone number one in 2024 if he had not had the injury concerns. And now they're rearing their heads again. This is the third time in 5 years he's had a major knee injury. So it looks to me like this is a chronic thing. And he got through. What's he gotten through? Was 16, 18 professional starts, whatever it is. He has a lot of positives about his game, but the one thing you have to be concerned about is the injuries. And it looks like you're not going to be able to consistently rely on him. You hope he can get a string of 2 or 3 years where he doesn't have any more injuries. But, it's kind of like with Sam Darnold, right? The bad play in big games, there's maybe a reason why people think that, and there's a reason why people are concerned about Michael Penix Jr.'s knees, because it looks like it's a problem.
Yeah, he's a talented player, and he has ability, but the most important ability is
availability.
There it is, folks. Jim.
This was one of the 2 games that went into overtime this week. This game did go into OT. Yeah. On my game picker, I changed my mind at the last minute on this. I had the Panthers. I didn't put any money on it, but the Panthers have been pretty good on the road this year as compared to last year. Last year they couldn't win a game on the road, and now they've they seem to have found themselves. Just as an example, they are overall they're 4-17-1 straight up on the road, 7-11 against the spread on the road, and they've split with the Falcons in Atlanta going into this game. They were 2-2 straight up against the Falcons, straight up, but they're now 3-2 straight up versus the Falcons. Like I said, this was a high-scoring game. This went way over the total. The total opened at 42.5 and pretty much stayed there. The total in this game was 57 points. So if you had the over in this game, you cashed a ticket. And they Panthers more than covered the point spread. The Falcons were favored by 3.5, and they were 3.5 pretty much all week. And Panthers covered the point spread with room to spare. I mean, it was, with the point spread and everything, you had 6.5 points. So, they were getting 3.5 into this game, and they won the game by 3. Yeah. So, it's like Mike said, Penix is out. I don't think we'll see him play the rest of the year. Kirk Cousins is gonna play this week.
Yep. And breathing right up the back of the Buccaneers is the Carolina Panthers. I didn't really have that on my bingo board. But 400 yards for Bryce Young, 4 touchdowns. That's a game. Regardless of what he was up against, he did it. Not a lot of players this season are putting up 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Counts for something. Yeah. We thought maybe Caleb Williams was turning the corner, having a pretty decent season. The Bears, hey, they improved to 7-3. I didn't have that on the bingo board, but look, those stats for their quarterback, Caleb Williams, 193 yards, no touchdowns. It was enough to get past the Minnesota J.J. McCarthy's, but yeah, I don't know what type of performance that's going to get you past if it's not just the Vikings, who are making Justin Jefferson's 61 yards receiving very pedestrian. They're looking very mortal with J.J. McCarthy over there. Bears escaped this one, Mike.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I don't have much to say about it. Bears are 7-3, same record as the Hawks. They're good. They did enough to win. The Seahawks lost ugly. The Bears won ugly. Mm-hmm. Give them credit for that. And I just think J.J. McCarthy's not very good. So
you're not going to get a lot of pushback on that. The Bears were helped with a Duvernay 56-yard kickoff return that set up the game-ending field goal. So, I mean, the Bears were set to lose, but they did just enough. Yeah, 14 of the 17 points the Vikings had were scraped together in that fourth quarter, but all the Bears needed was that final 3, Jim.
Yeah, this opened, the Minnesota Vikings were favored by 3. This opened at 3, and it closed pretty much at 2.5, which means there was bear money coming in on this game. I didn't bet this game. I kind of had a feeling that the Bears were going to go ahead and win this game. I didn't put any money on it. I didn't have a lot of confidence in it. I'm still not convinced as far as the Bears as being a moderate to strong football team. The reason I stayed away was the Vikings were 9-2 straight up versus the Bears going into this game. And the Bears were 7-24 straight up on the road. So this was a stay away game for me. The Bears didn't win convincingly, but they won the game 19-17, which is a good win for them on the road.
You win on the road in the division. You win on the road in the division, right? I mean they got it done. So
hell or high water, just get the dub, right. Go home. Try not to get too injured. It doesn't matter how ugly it is. Divisional games are just different. They're just built different. Those teams better than anybody else, and you see them twice, home and away. Dolphins got this win barely over the Commanders. Dolphins are playing a little bit better since losing to the Browns. This was another one of the overtime games, Mike. Marcus Mariota, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. No touchdowns, no interceptions to 2. Well, here's a question. Do you think it's a better performance from a quarterback? I mean, just generically speaking, take this game out of it. To have 1 touchdown and 1 interception, or 0 touchdowns and 0 interceptions? Which is the better QB performance in a vacuum, hypothetically?
If the interception that you throw doesn't lead to an opposition touchdown, then it's a net positive, right?
Because then it's just
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened on Mariota's interception if it led to a touchdown by the Dolphins. But I would say it's always better. If they said to me, you can throw a touchdown pass and get 7 points out of it, but you're going to have an interception on the other side to make, to even it out. I'm going to ask, well, do they score a touchdown on the interception? If the answer is no, I'm going to go, I'll take the deal. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, like was it a pick six or not?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And it depends on what happens.
Any other thoughts on this corner TV game?
I didn't see it at all. Terrible. We didn't have NFL Network in the hotel, so don't have anything to say about it except, wow, the Commanders are bad.
And I would say A-Chain is solidifying himself as a top 10 back. He's a really good running back there in Miami.
Yep.
Jim?
Yeah, this was the rain in Spain stays mainly on the plane game. It was 55 degrees and raining. This was the Madrid Spain game.
And by the way, why do we keep giving the European games? Why are they such trash? It just the jet lag. Like we're not getting a lot of oomph out of these European games.
I think it's the jet lag. It is very difficult to go there and adjust it to yourself.
Mostly East Coast games, play these European games. From what Mike says, it's the jet lag.
Well,
I mean, it would just be unless it'd be just devastating, for a team like the Seahawks or Santa Clara, to have to.
We went to Germany. Seahawks went to Germany about 4 or 5 years ago. Russ was the quarterback, played the Raiders and destroyed them. Of course, it was the Raiders. So, it's the jet lag. I think is the reason why the games are just not very good.
I think usually when a team has to travel that far, they give them the week off. What do you know? I'm right. The Dolphins and the Redskins both have the week off.
Yeah.
So the families probably stayed there. They probably attended a bullfight. Tua going into this game was 3-10 straight up. This was a stay away game for me. It was the game opened at 2.5. It pretty much stayed 2.5. Miami favored over the Redskins. And the reason they were favored over the Redskins was because, Daniels is out. He's not playing the game. So they're a totally different football.
Do you think we see Daniels the rest of the season, guys? Do you think, if they lose a couple more games here, I don't think I'd bring him back.
No, they're, let's see, the Redskins are now 3-8. I don't think you're going to see Daniels the rest of the season. You're going to see, Mariota's probably going to continue to play unless he gets hurt. The Redskins going into this game also were 1-7 against the spread the last 8 road games. So both in this game, both of these teams that qualified as a road game for both teams. So.
The recovery timeline, it said several weeks. He wasn't placed on injured reserve, leaving room for midseason return. Earliest possible return around week 13, November 30 versus the Broncos. But full participation in practice is weeks away. So no new updates there, but he's not on IR. They didn't shelf him officially, but who knows? Yeah. I mean, in a lost season at some point, are you tanking? Are you playing to win or just trying to heal up your guy? He's a young quarterback. As good as he started, he's still a young guy that needs repetitions. He needs the on-field experience. But if you're trying to race in NASCAR with 3 good tires, maybe you sit it out. Maybe don't try not to wreck anything else. You're dinged up. Take the L, move along.
I still don't think football teams actively tank, for draft picks. I would rather take a player that's a proven player, like what Green, picking up that defender and sitting on a first round draft pick. And statistically, still, first round draft picks. What is it, Mike? 2 out of 3, or end up being busts anyway. So it's it doesn't favor tanking football games at this point.
Well, I would just say, as a Browns fan who lived through a winless season, as I referenced earlier, I watched us actively tank that season. After we got Miles, right when we got Baker, I mean, we emptied the cabinets of everything just to stop.
Well, that's coaches. That's coaches and owners. That's not players. Players don't.
Well, it's mainly the general manager. That. It was Sashi Brown that mainly did that. And the plan sort of worked. We got Nick Chubb, Baker Mayfield, Myles Garrett. Denzel Ward. We had a nice core. But it takes more than just one season to do that. Then you got to obviously build upon that.
Yeah, well, that did a lot of good, Brian.
Yeah, I know. We're back to square one and a rebuild again. Houston Texans improved to 5-5, beating the helpless Tennessee Titans, who dropped to 1-9 on the year. Davis Mills gets it done, 274 yards, 1 touchdown, no mistakes. Mike, Houston Texans are sticking around.
I just watched the condensed replay of this on YouTube this afternoon because the Seahawks are playing the Titans next week.
Okay.
Let me just put it simply. I will not be putting any money on the Tennessee Titans, okay? Both teams stink. Houston without C.J. Stroud, with Davis Mills, and he's going to start again next week. They're not very good either, but they're better than Tennessee, who is awful. They stopped the run pretty well. That's about it.
Yeah, the Browns are going to be we have the Raiders. The Jets are supposed to be an easy win. That didn't happen for us. And then,
that Raiders-Browns game is going to be a classic.
Hey, you know what? A week of practice with Shador. Maybe this is the coming out party, and we go, maybe we have a quarterback. I don't know. I'm not going to pump the brakes, but
don't get too excited.
I don't know. I look, if we don't allow ourselves to get a little excited, what are we even watching for? So I allow a little bit of excitement. You got to prove it, but I take your point. Jim, Texans get the win as expected.
This was the game that killed my parlay.
No.
The Texans. I went ahead and laid the 5.5 with the Texans on my 3-team parlay. Fortunately, like Mike, I had a protection bet. It wasn't a hedge. It was just one straight bet on a lead pipe lock of the week that got us our money back. And Mike made a profit last week monetarily, but the Texans going into this game, or the Titans going into this game, I should say, were 5-21 against the spread. The Titans were 1-11 against the spread at home. I mean, this game screamed Texans, division game.
Yeah.
And the Titans are 0-4 straight up at home versus the Texans. I went ahead and laid the 5.5 in this game. Needless to say, the number didn't cover. 16-13. This game looked like it was going into overtime also. But the Texans squeaked it out, I think, in the last minute 40 of the game. The point spread was all over the board in this game. It opened Texans 7.5. It was bet down to 7. It was bet down to 6.5, and they finally settled at 5.5. So the Texans were overvalued all week in this game, but it wasn't to be.
Well, it wasn't to be for the New York Jameis Winstons either. No touchdowns in the air for them. Look, the Packers had a worry when Jordan Love got injured, his shoulder. They brought Malik Willis in. Talking about the Titans, they moved on from him pretty quick. But Jordan Love came back in, 2 touchdowns, no goofy mistakes, and the Packers improved to 6-3-1. Giants dropped to 2-9, Mike.
Yeah, he broke his streak of not throwing any touchdown passes. I saw little bits of this on the big screen at SoFi. And, I'm going to come back to it again. Best quarterback throwing the ball performance the Giants have had this year still belongs to Russell Wilson. And, Jackson Dart can do more with his legs at this point than Russ can. But you know, I don't know what you're going to do in New York. You got a bad football team, and they stuck with it. They played hard, but in the end, they just didn't have enough bullets in the gun.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Giants to win one because it's all about draft pick seeding for the Browns, sitting there right at 2, 3, 4. Can we get to 1? Can we get to 2? Keep 3. Because there's a difference if you end up at 7, 6, 5. Big difference between 4, 3, 2, 1 for sure. Jim, this one. I mean, it was a 1-score game. It was kind of close, and that injury scare, but Green Bay took care of business.
Yeah, this game opened at 7, and if you got it at 7, you got your money back in the game because the final score landed right on 7, 27-20 in favor of Green Bay. It went to 7.5 by the end of the week. So depending on which number you want to look at, the Packers didn't cover the game, but they did win the game. This was another one of the strong teams that had lost the week before. They lost to the Eagles. They came back against a weak team and won the game. So strong team, losing week before, come back, winning the game. Depending on whether you got 7, 7.5 is whether or not you actually got your money back or lost your money.
Well,
so
the Packers kind of needed this one. That would have been really tough if they could.
Yeah, Jameis is now 3-8 against the spread. The last 11 games that he's started.
And I think he'll probably, I mean, he's going to keep getting the starts, I believe. I mean, we'll see how it shakes out, but I guess he will.
Hopefully he will. Jameis is, like we've talked about before, Jameis is good TV.
Yeah, he's interesting, if nothing else. And first game of the year, maybe he needed to get his sea legs, and we'll see. Or his land legs from the crab guy. Pittsburgh Steelers had an injury to Aaron Rodgers, his non-throwing hand, right?
Yeah, broken bone in his left wrist.
Yeah, so what are we?
So it's still up in the air as to whether or not Rodgers is actually going to play. Watching Cowherd today, Cowherd said that possibly he could play. The information that Cowherd had, but what's the alternative? It was the quarterback that got bludgeoned by by Myles Garrett
in self-defense.
Mason Rudolph
while backpedaling.
Oh
Mason
yeah,
Rudolph, right?
Sure, yeah.
Battery with a deadly weapon.
Yeah.
While backpedaling, and 2 linemen and the quarterback were charging him. He swung in self-defense while backpedaling.
That makes him even more of a pussy.
I've heard Myles Garrett called a lot of things, but
pussy.
I would never call him that.
Sam, by the way, pussy does not refer to female genitalia. It is short for pusillanimous.
Oh, fun fact of the day. You can tune in to hear more about that on Whiskey and Wisdom with Mike Bara and that other guy.
All right, let's wrap it up. I got to get going. I didn't watch this game at all. Joe Flacco let me down. I thought based on trends, Jim, you should warn me not to bet on trends. What happened the last 2 weeks doesn't mean that's going to happen this week. I did not expect the Steelers defense to play as well as they did, and I thought Flacco would put up 24 points, and they put up way less than that. So that burned my.
Yeah.
By the way, Mike, remember when I said that Steeler defense looked totally different when I
You're
watched
right.
it?
You're right.
I called it. They were flying.
Right.
Jim, what did you see?
Yeah, try to warn Mike on this. Bengals no bueno on the money line. Mike had him on his parlay just to win the game straight up. This game killed his parlay. Bengals 1-5 against the spread after a bye week or after a Thursday night game. 1-5 against the spread. So, needless to say, they did not. How many Caucasian parents you have there, Mike? Okay, 1.
I'm pretty white.
So
I'm like Aryan. I'm like 98%. So pretty white.
Yeah, Mike, you're a hybrid. Yeah. So Steelers 12-6 against the spread at home. 13-25 when favored by 4 points or more. Yeah, the Bengals was not the play on this one. They got blown out 34-12. This game opened at 5.5 Steelers. It stayed pretty much 5.5 all week.
I would add,
and Rodgers got hurt.
Yeah, Rodgers hurt. Mason Rudolph. I'm a Will Howard fan. I don't know if he's ready or not. He crushed for the Ohio State Buckeyes, winning that national championship last year. I'm excited to see what he can do, but I don't think he's ready. We'll see how it shakes out with the injuries. Kenneth Gainwell did a good job, 2 touchdowns in the air and added another 24 on the ground. And Jamar Chase, by the way, spit on the opposing player, and he's going to be suspended for a game, which is going to really, really hurt my 2 fantasy dynasty leagues where Jamar Chase is my number 1 receiver at a time where Justin Jefferson, my other receiver, is playing very poorly. So thanks
classy.
for nothing, Jamar.
That was classy, Jamar.
Yeah, thanks for nothing.
Oh, one other thing,
Yes,
Brian. Steelers, one of those moderate teams. You know, they're up there in the division. Lost the week before to the Chargers. Came back, won the game, covered the point spread. I'm just saying.
Just saying. It's a trend. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Well, the trend with the Jacksonville Jaguars sucks because they keep winning. They improved to 6-4 on the year.
Yeah.
Just absolutely steamrolling the 7-4 Chargers is what they dropped to. 35-6, Mike. You've been saying the Chargers are just not that good.
Yeah, and I've been surprised by how well they've played in a couple of wins the last couple of weeks. I just think this is who they really are, more who they really are than those 2 big wins. Jekyll and Hyde team, they got their asses kicked, and that's really about all I know about the game.
Leading rusher was Justin Herbert with 21 yards.
Wow. So that's physical dominance at the line of scrimmage. That's all there is to it. So,
and it's also playing from behind. The more behind you are, the less you're going to be running it. So it all just compounds. It gets worse before it gets better. ETN, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Tootin with the touchdown on the. They both rushed 73 yards and 74 respectively. Pretty good performance out of them. Jim.
Yeah, Chargers. Not a good football team. I don't think they're good at all. I mean, I agree with Mike. Jaguars 5-1 against the spread as a home dog going into this game. Now 6-1 against the spread as a home dog. Chargers 5-9 straight up versus teams with winning records. And believe it or not, the Jaguars did have a winning record going into this game.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Another stat. I don't know if you consider the Jaguars a good football team or not. Week before, lost to the Texans 29-36. Jaguars came back, beat the Chargers convincingly, and covered the point spread. So there's another team.
And that's all without their Heisman winner, without Travis Hunter, who's done for the year. So, yeah, they're doing something right. They went from the 5th worst team in the league to they're 6-4. They're in a playoff.
Well, that proves our point earlier what we talked about, Brian. Offensive lineman more important than wide receiver.
Good point. Good comment here from Stan Gracer with the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's time for Rudolph, just in time for the holidays. That's our comment of the day. Well done, Stan. Let's talk about the Niners here. This is the last game we have to reference. 41-22. Brock Purdy, look, 3 touchdowns. No stupid mistakes. They get it done. CMC, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Kittle caught 2, and McCaffrey caught another one. So he had a hat trick as well. What did we learn in this? We know the Cardinals are not good, but the 49ers are getting healthy at the right time, it seems, Mike.
Yeah, again, Cardinals have lost the last 2 weeks. I think it is 44-22 to the Seahawks and 41-22 to Santa Clara. They're not very good. Jacoby Brissett is not the answer, but that's about all I got to say about this one. Didn't see a single play,
but they're consistent with their
not unexpected. Brock Purdy helped the Niners quite a bit because he's better than Mac Jones.
Yeah,
not by that much, but he is a little bit better.
Jim.
Yeah, this was Brian. If you run the tape back, this was the lead pipe lock of the week, I believe. Santa Clara against the hapless Tempe Cardinals. 49ers 6-3 straight up versus losing teams. Now 7-3 straight up. This was another one of those good football teams that had lost the week before. The 49ers had lost to the Rams the week before. They come back, destroy the Cardinals, they win the game, and not only that, they cover the point spread. This was my one team bet this week, my straight bet, and this protected my losing 3-team parlay with the Texans. So I didn't have a total losing week. I cashed this ticket, and Mike cashed his Seahawk ticket. He had a half a point in that game and made money.
He made it work.
So you gotta listen to us, guys.
Yes. Well, we're gonna be back Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, correct, fellas?
That's correct. Well,
Okay.
I would like to do it earlier, like we did before. Last week, because
What time did we do it last week? Did we do
we did it at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific.
That'll work. Yeah, we did it at 1300 hours Pacific time.
Yeah.
So, I'll just make sure I'm in bed before 3 a.m. so I can get up.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll send that out on text.
I'm on Dave Bara time.
Dave time. Yeah, we'll see if Izzy can join us at that time. I think 4 o'clock Thursday should work for me. But yeah, before we roll out the door, just take a look at this on the screen. This is ESPN's fun new thing. They're calling it the playoff machine. If the playoffs started today, AFC 1 seed is Denver. Yes, the playoffs. And I'm not kidding you. Playoffs. Denver, the 1 seed. New England, the 2 seed. Indy, the 3 seed. Steelers, the 4 seed. 5 seed Buffalo. 6 seed Chargers. 7 seed Jaguars. Kind of a little surprising to see a couple of those teams in there. I'm going to be honest about it. Anything jump out at you guys in the way too early looking at the AFC playoff thing? Nothing from mine?
No, let's do that on Thursday.
Perfect. Then let's do that on Thursday.
Jaguar shouldn't be there.
Well, and hopefully the season will bear that out. Mike, tell us about your show tonight.
Toxically Masculine Tuesday in about an hour and 15 minutes over on Mike Bara 333 on YouTube and Real News Live with Mike and Jen on mobile. So please drop by.
That was a good show last week.
It's not going to be quite as roided out as that this week. But.
Oh no, that's what made it good.
Yeah, the roids. Yeah.
Take some more steroids. It's a good show.
On that note, thank you, fellas. We appreciate you. We love you out there in the viewing universe. We'll be back on Thursday, probably at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, take care, everybody. Peace.